I think it's pretty clear that the Lakers, no matter what happens at the end of the season, no matter how far they get, unless I guess they win the title, which is not the most likely outcome.
How about that defense?
I just don't see him in their plans past this summer. They didn't offer him an extension. They're going to have to give more money to Austin Reeves. They're going to have to beef up the defense. So I just don't think they want to sign a 41-year-old for another year or two.
For the first time in LeBron James's career, the conversation isn't about how great he still is or how long he can keep going. The conversation is about whether the league, the fans, and even his own team are finally ready to move on. And when Rachel Nichols started breaking down LeBron's All Star situation and his future with the Lakers, it became clear that this isn't just noise. This is a warning sign.
All Star voting, fan vote, first coming out. There were the usual suspects at the top: Luka Doncic, Giannis, but notably, one LeBron James was down at the bottom of the top 10. I think he was 8th in Western Conference,
seventh or eighth,
in that range, which leads to the broader question of will LeBron make the All-Star team. I've been pretty adamant for the last week that he wasn't going to make it.
You've been ahead on this.
I anticipated the All-Star voting to be better for him, but I thought the player vote, or the player vote and the media vote would not be good for him.
So here's a quick question. Are we witnessing LeBron's decline in real time? Or have fans already decided the future doesn't include him anymore? Tell us your thoughts in the comments below.
Because we were talking about it last week, and I think the fans generally are voting in the right direction. If you look at who's the top of those lists, they get 50% of the vote, the media gets 25% of the vote, the players get 25% of the vote, but the fan vote's a good indicator, right, on where things are going. I think you've been right when you say the coaches are less likely to put him on the reserves. Just the coaches tend to really reward like insider basketball picks more than they do names. I do think, though, whether it's the coaches or eventually Adam Silver, and we'll get to that in a minute, I think, and the players too, there's an appreciation of LeBron that sometimes the media and fans are so quick to jump into analysis of him and how he's playing. I think there's a lot of players in the league who still, really think, man, what that guy is doing is incredible.
When the first All-Star fan voting results came out, most people expected the usual names at the top. Luka Doncic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Nikola Jokic. No surprises there. But what shocked everyone was where LeBron James landed. Instead of being near the top like he has been for over 20 years, LeBron was hovering near the bottom of the top 10 in the Western Conference. And that immediately raised a question that used to be unthinkable. Is LeBron James even an all-star starter anymore?
And then the real thing that could shift it is this new format, which is USA versus the world. And the idea is to have 8 players from the world and 16 players from the USA. However, they're not voting that way. The voting is still Eastern Conference, Western Conference. And the reason for that is, as I always say, team ownership in the East wants an all-star on their team that they can sell tickets for on the back end of the season. So there will always be East-West voting, no matter what format we have. But once you have those East-West pool in and you stick them back all together into one pool, if there aren't 8 international players or if there aren't quite 16 American players, Adam Silver is the one who appoints the final American players.
Rachel Nichols had already been saying for over a week that she didn't believe LeBron would be voted in as a starter, and she went even further by questioning whether he would make the All-Star team at all through the normal process. Her reasoning was simple and hard to argue with. Fan voting makes up 50% of the decision, media voting makes up 25%, and player voting makes up the final 25%. If LeBron finishes 7th, 8th, or 9th in fan voting, that almost completely eliminates his chances of starting. And when you look at how coaches tend to vote, they usually reward current impact over legacy.
If Adam Silver appointed LeBron, he's played in 21, he hasn't played in 21. He's been appointed to 21, voted into 21 All-Star games. He didn't play last year, and he started in 20 of them, or voted as a starter in 20 of them. And I don't know, one of the reasons I thought this was a big deal when you brought it up last week is, does he use that weekend to announce that he's wrapping up after the season?
That would be interesting, and you've been on that for at least a week now, probably longer.
What stood out the most was that Rachel Nichols wasn't shocked by the results. She explained that LeBron missed a significant portion of the season, whether you call it injuries, rest, or load management. He wasn't consistently available. He didn't establish rhythm early, and from a fan perspective, that matters. Fans may respect LeBron's career, but they're no longer willing to blindly push him into the starting lineup just because of his name. Respect doesn't automatically translate into votes anymore.
My question with that is, like, if LeBron doesn't make it through traditional methods,
Sure.
would he want that appointment? Remember, he didn't play in the game last year, chalked it up to injuries, what have you. Do you think that he would want a last-minute appointment by the commissioner, or would someone like him say, I don't need it?
I want to go to
I'd
Cabo, which is
I'd
what
rather
I
go
believe
be
what
on a
he did
banana
last
boat
year.
somewhere and do my thing.
Right.
What do you think? You've covered him a long time. Do you think he would want that appointment?
I think it really depends on where his head is at in terms of how much longer he's going to play. I think it's pretty clear that the Lakers, no matter what happens at the end of the season, no matter how far they get, unless, I guess, they win the title, which is not the most likely outcome.
Not with that defense.
I just don't see him in their plans for past this summer. They didn't offer him an extension. They're going to have to give more money to Austin Reeves. They're going to have to beef up the defense. So I just don't think they want to sign a 41-year-old for another year or two.
There's also the reality of how LeBron has looked on the court. Offensively, he can still put up numbers, but defensively, he's clearly declined. He picks his spots, he conserves energy, and fans see that. When you combine missed games, inconsistent defense, and a Lakers team that continues to struggle on that end of the floor, the patience wears thin. For the first time, fans are judging LeBron like a normal star, not an untouchable legend. Rachel Nichols then shifted the conversation to something much bigger than the All-Star game. She talked about LeBron's future with the Lakers, and this is where things got uncomfortable. According to her, no matter how the season ends, unless the Lakers somehow win a championship, she doesn't see LeBron in their plans beyond this summer. The Lakers didn't offer him an extension. They're going to have to pay Austin Reeves. They desperately need to invest in defense. And committing significant money to a 41-year-old, even one named LeBron James, doesn't make sense for where the franchise is headed. That's the part fans don't want to accept. The Lakers are quietly preparing for life after LeBron. This isn't about disrespect, it's about direction. The organization has to think about sustainability, flexibility, and the future. And when you look at the roster construction and financial reality, LeBron simply doesn't fit the long-term plan anymore. This is why the All-Star vote matters so much. It's not just about one weekend. It reflects how the public views your relevance right now. LeBron being 9th in fan voting sends a clear message. Fans are no longer prioritizing him. They're appreciating his career from a distance while focusing on the present and the future of the league. Rachel Nichols also brought up something that doesn't get talked about enough. Last season, LeBron was voted into the All-Star game and then announced at the last minute that he wouldn't play. That decision cost another player a spot, someone who actually wanted to be there and had earned it. Coaches and players notice things like that. So when it comes time to vote again, those memories don't disappear. Despite all this, Rachel Nichols acknowledged that there is still a lot of respect for LeBron within the league itself. Players understand how difficult it is to perform at a high level at his age. Many of the younger players grew up watching him. To them, he's still their era's defining figure. That respect could still help him make the All-Star team as a reserve. But even if he does, the damage to his image as an automatic starter has already been done. Then there's the wild card, Adam Silver. With the new USA versus World All-Star format, the commissioner has the power to appoint players if roster balance requires it. There's a very real chance that LeBron could still end up in the game through an appointment rather than the traditional voting process. But that raises another question Rachel Nichols asked. Would LeBron even want that? Would someone like LeBron James want to be a commissioner's pick instead of earning it outright? Or would he rather skip the weekend altogether, avoid the optics, and protect his legacy? That decision likely depends on whether LeBron has already decided that this season is his last. Rachel Nichols suggested that if this is LeBron's final run, then taking the All-Star appearance, even through appointment, would make sense. Michael Jordan did it. Legends have done it before. You take your bows. You let the league celebrate you one last time. But if LeBron hasn't accepted that reality yet, then the situation becomes much more complicated. What makes this even harder is that LeBron has never been unwanted. From the time he was a child, teams have always wanted him. Coaches have always built around him. This would be the first time in his life that a franchise looks at him and says, "We're going in a different direction." Processing that is not easy for someone whose entire identity is built on being the center of the basketball universe. There are other teams that would still be interested in LeBron: the Clippers, the Warriors, Cleveland. From a business standpoint, LeBron still sells tickets. Arenas will still sell out. Jerseys will still move. But basketball-wise, fitting him into a contender without sacrificing flexibility is not simple. And uprooting his family, especially after everything he's built in Los Angeles, isn't a small decision either. When you put all of this together, the All-Star voting starts to look like a smoke signal. Fans aren't angry. They're not rioting. They're just quietly moving on. And that might be the loudest message of all. Being ninth in voting isn't disrespectful. It's reality. LeBron has always been strategic with the media. He knows how to control narratives. He knows how to shift attention. Announcing a retirement during All-Star Weekend would instantly flip the story. Instead of fans being done with him, it becomes a celebration. But if he continues to play games with the fans and the league, they'll keep responding the same way they did this year. Rachel Nichols didn't say LeBron is washed. She didn't say he can't play. What she did say is far more impactful. She said the Lakers don't see him in their future. And once that happens, everything changes. The All-Star votes, the media tone, the league's priorities. LeBron James is one of the greatest players the NBA has ever seen. That's not up for debate. But greatness doesn't stop time. It doesn't stop younger stars from taking over. And it doesn't guarantee you a spot forever. The All-Star voting made that clear. The Lakers' silence made that clear. And Rachel Nichols saying it out loud just confirmed what many were already thinking. This might not just be LeBron's last season in Los Angeles. It might be the moment the NBA officially turned the page. And whether LeBron is ready to accept it or not, the league is already moving forward. And that's what makes this moment so different from anything we've seen before. Not the decline itself, not the missed games, not even the All-Star voting. It's the silence. There's no league-wide outrage, no massive pushback, no "how dare you disrespect LeBron" energy like there used to be. The NBA didn't stop. The conversation didn't pause. It just kept moving. And for a player who once controlled the entire gravitational pull of the league, that quiet shift says more than any hot take ever could. What's happening now is something LeBron has never truly had to face: irrelevance to the future. Not to the past, not to history, but to what comes next. Teams are no longer asking, how do we build around LeBron? They're asking, how do we build after him? That's a brutal transition for any superstar, especially one who has been the system everywhere he's gone. For the first time, LeBron isn't the solution. He's the variable.